Hello, guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lungi, and I vlog about all things faith, God, gardening, and cooking. So sit with me today while I take a step back from a very, very busy week. I have been so unwell this week, honestly, it's been rough. But today it's a bright and sunny day, and I didn't want to spend the day in bed. I feel like it's the first really warmest day in the springtime so far, so there was no way I was going to waste this day. So I paracetamol up and I got to baking. Today we were going to have a barbecue in the sun, and my kids were begging me to make a traditional Zulu bread that we make back home called Ujeqe. And this bread is so easy to make. Honestly, you only need basic cupboard ingredients which you would normally have. And well, let's get started. I've had a bit of a rough week though physically. But even though I was unwell this week, I have really had a sense of God just smiling down on me. I honestly don't always feel like this. I always feel like God is really far away, but this week has been in some ways a good and a bad week, but mostly good. I've come to the realization and the conclusion that indeed good things are here. They're not coming, they're actually here. I really struggled in the last few years, just mentally mostly, and I did touch on this in one of my previous videos, which I will link in the video below just so that you guys can take a look at that. But I did struggle a lot the last, I would say, 3 years. And these last few years have involved a lot of being knocked down and having to get back up again and again and again and again. Now, I know that this is what life generally looks like for most of us, but there was a lot of instability. And the last few days, I really had a sense that finally things are leveling out. They are becoming more stable. And I am looking at a future where there's going to be laughter, way more laughter and joy than there will be sadness. I used to feel like joy was temporary because I constantly had something always knocking me back down. And a few things happened the last week, personal things, and a lot of my faith has been tested. But I came to the realization in those times this week, when those bad things happened, I realized that guess what? I am on the other side. So those things that would have knocked me down a few years ago weren't going to knock me down anymore. And I just decided to look up to God and to place my focus on Him. And in that I realized that God's been working this whole time. And it just, unfortunately, it took this unfortunate incident to make me realize that I am on the other side. And my faith has increased in such a big way through those struggles over the last few years. I've titled this video with a quote from Ecclesiastes chapter 3 because I really feel like this is appropriate for what God is doing right now in this new season of my life. And in Ezekiel chapter 3 verse 4, it says, "There is a time to cry and a time to laugh." And honestly, yesterday I woke up and I just really believed in my soul that my crying season is finally over. And now is the time for joy and laughter because God is doing a new thing. He is doing something new and it's here. There's nothing that can resist that. There's nothing that can stop that. He's doing a new thing. And I feel as though it's the first time in a long time where there is finally stability in my life, and especially in terms of having consistent peace and joy. And that consistent peace and joy, it won't be short-lived this time. And I'm finally on the other side of doubt, fear, and instability. I feel so much more firm and more stable in my faith now than I did. But maybe that's what God was doing. That's probably what I needed. And all the shaping and the molding and the going through the fire is what has increased my faith. I'm a lot more confident in who I am as a person now. Mentally, I'm so much stronger. You know, I used to be a very quiet and reserved person. I generally used to like shy away from people, but God has done so much in me, and I'm just not who I used to be anymore. I'm more outgoing, more confident. I'm a lot bolder, and most importantly, my identity in Christ is a lot stronger as well. And as my relationship with God becomes more stronger, I feel a lot more open to the next chapter that God has for me on the other side. And I'm so excited and I'm so hopeful for the future.